Hello everyone, very good evening and welcome back to the session of the art and culture. In this lecture, which is the 7th lecture of this series, I will be discussing with all of you about the post-Mauryan arts. So I hope that everybody is able to join the session and is able also to view the lecture properly to get the voice and video everything properly. So guys, in this lecture, when we talk about the post-Mauryan period, roughly we are referring to the time period which started with the Shunga era, with the Shunga dynasty in the northern India, or in the northwestern parts of the country, the Indo-Greeks and the Kushanas, they started the dominance. Good evening everybody, those who are live here in the session, and guys, make it sure that you also share this class with everyone. So when we are talking about the post-Mauryan trends, this is the probably most favorite part of all the students, in fact those who are studying about the basic art and culture as well. All of those students must be aware about the Gandhar art, about the Mathura art, about the Amravati school of art. So these are some of the most famous topics in art and culture. But today, as I told you, that we are not just going to discuss about the ordinary things, but when you are attending this class, you must be getting some sort of, you should get some special knowledge, some special depth of the subject. This is why I have brought this particular series for all of you. So let's proceed further. But guys, as we proceed further, let me tell you that in this particular session, you are going to get the absolute understanding of the subject. However, if you want the similar understanding or even better understanding of all other required subjects, then I recommend you all to enroll for our upcoming batches, which are going to start on the 11th of September 2023, and these batches are available in the preferred medium of yours, be it English or Hindi, as per your choice, and these will be having all the required contents, all the required facilities which are essential for any candidate to clear the examination. So make it sure that do not forget to check the details in the description box, as well as you can also download the application if you have not downloaded it yet. If you are able to join any particular course, then do not forget to use this particular code ASR Live. This will help you in getting the maximum discount and the best price for this. Now moving to the topic, new trends in the new empires. Okay everyone, so which are the new empires I am talking about here? I am talking about the new empires, particularly if you observe it carefully. So the new empires here, right, the new empires here, they included some of the invasive empires, okay, or invading empires, and the indigenous empires, okay. So when I am talking about the invading empires or invading kingdoms, you can have the examples like Indo-Greeks, all right, like the Shakas, Kushanas, Parthians, etc. Okay everybody. And here if you are talking about the indigenous empires, in the northern areas you have the Shung and you have the Kanv. In the Deccan, while you are having the Satavahan and Ikshwakus Okay, so these dynasties overall, they played very significant roles, very crucial roles in shaping the pattern of art and architecture. Guys, always remember one simple funda. If you are talking about any particular time period, that time period has got the specific features, the peculiar features in art and culture, and these features are basically the byproduct of the ongoing mentality, ongoing temperament, ongoing availability of the resources. Suppose if you are having the resources like stone, okay, like limestone or like sandstone, but your mentality is very creative, very creative. You want to show the exquisite detailings. You want to tell the stories through your stone sculpture. So do you think that it will be easier for you to make the sculptures in the sandstone or in the limestone? In limestone, definitely you cannot do that until and unless it get metamorphosized, and after the metamorphosis, when there will be the makeup of the marble, then it will be a different thing. Otherwise, in case if you want to do the detailings, you have to choose the sandstone. This is why the art and sculptures, they always develop as the byproduct of certain features, certain specialities. Listen these very carefully, these are very important things. Now when we talk about this time period which was followed after the end of the Mauryan dynasty, various dynasties, Satavahanas, Abhiras, Vakatakas, in the southern and the western India, in the north we had the Kushanas, Shakas, Indo-Greeks, Guptas, so many dynasties. All of them, probably all of them, drew the inspirations from the ongoing cultural traditions. These ongoing cultural traditions, for example, if you look at the Buddhism was gaining the popularity in its new format, which was popular as the Mahayana sect of Buddhism. In fact, you all might be agree that Mahayana sect of Buddhism, okay everyone, Mahayana sect of Buddhism, it was believer of worshipping Buddha, okay, worshipping Buddha as God, in the form of sculptures, So that clearly indicates that any particular dynasty which will be related to this Mahayana, related to it, right, they will be promoting the sculpture art. Are you able to get the point here, everyone? Any dynasty related to the Mahayana sect of Buddhism, they will automatically support the sculptures, because Mahayana means the development of the sculptures to worship Buddha, or making several new sculptures of Bodhisattva to simply provide the validation of this story of Bodhisattvas. Not only that, the Mahayana, this sect also, right, it also enclosed the Jatakas as important part of the religion, right, important part of their religion. And remember that Jataka tales, they had lots and lots of wonderful stories, particularly related to the lives of or the previous incarnations of Buddha and Bodhisattvas. And in Jataka tales, you have the images of various animals or various demigods and goddesses, or several other types of the organisms. So here, when you start picturizing the Jataka tales on the stone sculpture, you will have the ample opportunity to showcase the variety of the trees, the variety of the wheels, right? You can see here, you can see the elephant, small elephant is here. Then you can see the ornamentation of this lady, right? This lady is known as Shal Bhanjika. What is the name? Shal Bhanjika. Okay, everybody. So, from where did we get this name? This is the tree of Shal. Okay, the famous Shal tree under which Lord Buddha was born. Okay, the shal tree. He obtained the knowledge under the peepal tree. He was enlightened under the peepal tree, and he took birth under the shal tree. This is why these Shalbhanjikas, these are considered as the demi-goddesses or the angelic women who were the protectors as well as the caretakers of these shal trees, which was having the auspicious meaning in the Buddhist tradition. This is why, and she is following a very ornamented posture, a very decorated posture, showing the Tribhang mudra of standing in a specific style. You can also see the ornaments which are worn by her. You can see the armed girdles, you can see the wrist, basically the bangles like structures. Then you can see the belts and the entire necklace is there. Not only that, you can see the series of anklets and other ornaments. Guys, what am I trying to tell you through this statue? This sculpture is nothing but a type of evolutionary development in the pre-existing folk sculptural arts, where in the Maurya period we had studied that the people used to make the sculptures of yakshis or yakshinis and the yakshas. Here also you will find the similar type of sculptures. Which are the major places where you will find the specimens of the post-Mauryan art and architecture? These are mainly Vidisha, Bharahut, both in Madhya Pradesh, then Bodh Gaya, that is in Bihar region, then Jagyapet, that is in Andhra Pradesh, then Mathura in Uttar Pradesh, then in Odisha you will have the Khandagiri, Udaygiri region, and Pavni region in Nagpur, nearby Nagpur, and Bhaja, that is nearby Pune region, nearby Pune. Okay. So all these features about which we are talking, they all are present in the sculptures and the artifacts which are constructed in given sites. Now let us understand the major features of the arts during the post-Maurya age. Okay everyone, during the post-Mauryan period. Yes, definitely in MP and Bihar, in fact entire central India was a great center of art and architecture. Do not miss the geographical connection, because in central India, if we have the ready availability of the stones, similarly in Bihar as well, you will find the maximum number of sculptures in the areas nearby Gaya. Why? Because Gaya is in southern Bihar, and southern Bihar is very close to the plateaus of Chota Nagpur and the plateaus of Kaimur. That is why the maximum sculptures are present in that area only. See, many people suggest that art and culture is a very boring subject or something. Guys, if you have the proper connections, if you have the proper linkings of the topics, then it becomes very interesting to understand that which type of resources prompted the sculpture artists to create different type of sculptures. That is very important. Now, talking about the features of the arts during the post-Mauryan periods. Now guys, remember one thing. Earlier in the previous era of the art, we saw that the sculptures were quite stylized. Not only that, the sculptures like Yakshini of Didarganj near Patna, she was shown to be very voluptuous, very you can say massive in the appearance. Whereas when we look at the sculptures of this period, we find that these sculptures are comparatively thin in the scale, comparatively smaller in the projection of their bodies. That is the major feature. Not only that, remember, Yakshas and Yakshinis are shown the flat clinging to the chest. Okay, flat clinging to the chest. So basically both of them are depicted usually very much closer to a secondary structure. Either it is a tree, or it is any other person, or it is any ornament. It is like that. right everyone? Similarly, here you can see in the later times, the hands are shown as the natural projection against the chest. Like if you observe the earlier picture, hands are usually raised or hands are usually projected little bit outwards. However, if you observe the later pictures, the hands particularly, they come in the alignment of the body of the sculpture. Now this is a development. How can I say the development? Suppose you are an artist, you are making the body of or a statue of a particular person, but you are unable to locate the hands properly. You are unable to locate the axis of the hands. Should it be little bit backward of your neck or should it be little bit forward in your direction of your neck? That is the problem which was being faced by the sculptures. Now these sculptors, they actually decided to take a proper dimensioning of the axis and then they improvised their sculpture art. This is visible in the post-Mauryan age. However, initially if you talk about the dressing, so the surface of the stone slabs, that was the main concern. That was the main concern. That means if you observe the statues, I will show you the pictures, right? Though you can see the pictures here. If you observe the statues, these are basically depicted at Bharahut. You can see that here in the main sculpture, the ornamentation is done on the human body. Ornamentation is done on the human body. You can see the minute works of the stone to show the ornaments of the body worn by these servants of Mahamaya Devi. This is the development which occurred later. But in the earlier phase, what was the condition? The condition was that suppose this is a slab of the stone, okay, this is a stone slab and there is a sculpture on the stone slab, there is a sculpture on the stone slab, okay, and on this particular slab you have the, right, you have the specific statue, but this statue is not decorated. This statue is not decorated. Rather, entire decoration is done here. Entire decoration is done here. Whatever decoration is happening, that decoration is happening on the stone. This is the old tradition. But in the new tradition, in the post-Mauryan tradition, the decoration was not focused on the slab, but it was focused on the body, on the sculpture. Main sculpture was having better decorations. Okay everybody, I hope you will be able to recall this feature if they ask that in the examination, that during the post-Mauryan period, the sculpture became more important for the decorative purposes than the slab on which the sculpture was standing. Okay, understand that. Due to the shallow carvings of the picture surface, projection of the hands and feet was not possible, and that is why the folded hands were shown. Guys, what exactly does it mean? It means that suppose if you are making the projection on a very thin stone, there should not be any thickness into it. If there is no thickness, it is extremely difficult to engrave, right, to simply do the deep carving, and this encarving to the deeper planes, which was not possible in the thin stone slabs. This is why the hands are just shown to be folded. Okay, mostly either stuck to the body like that, because you don't have the space to carve the entire thickness of the stone so that your movement of the hand is shown. No, not possible. Suppose if I need to just make the sculpture on this plain surface, then how will my hand look like? My hand will look like as it is stick to the surface. It is stuck to the surface. Okay, exactly the same pattern of sculpture that was depicted here in the post-Mauryan ages. In fact, there is a general stiffness in the body and the arms. Guys, what is the meaning of stiffness? Exactly what I am trying to show to you. Suppose if you are standing exactly like that, exactly like that, you are unable to show the sculpture in a little bit thickness, where if the sculpture is having some thickness, then the angle of the projection of the hand, that is outward of your body, right? However, if there is no thickness in the stone on which you are making the sculpture, you have to keep the plane of your hand exactly parallel to the body, So have a look on this particular picture, right? This particular picture, and you can see that this is comparatively a thicker stone, comparatively a thick stone slab. That is why you are able to see the projected, right, outward projections of the legs, outward projection of the hands, movements of the hands. Whereas if you do not have the thickness, you cannot see such projections, right? You cannot see such projections. All right. Then later on, as I told you, later on the deep carvings were made. The pictures which I showed to you, okay, Navi? The pictures which I showed to you, that picture was basically having the deep carvings. Because of that, the thickness and the dimensions of the body, they were clearly visible. This is why the volume and the naturalistic representation of the human body and animal body, that became possible. Guys, before the post-Mauryan age, usually the flat and stiffness, right, the flattishness and the stiffness in the representation, that was more common. But in the post-Mauryan era, the deep carvings became more common. We can see the example in the Mathura and Gandhar style of art, in both the style of art. After that, the Bharahut art became famous for their narrative relief. Guys, what is the meaning of the narrative relief? Have you ever seen the comics? Anybody who has studied the comics, where you just see some pictures, and then in those pictures there are the specific gestures of the body, like they are shown being surprised, some of them are doing certain actions like that. Usually we see the pictures and then we try to conclude the exact story out of that picture. Suppose if there is a picture which is showing that the little Krishna is eating the soil, and in that picture his mother is just shown a little bit angry by the face and pointing the finger towards Krishna, we can assume that probably the young little Krishna was eating soil and he was getting scolded by his mother. This is the story. But how did we know that? We knew that because we are able to see that sculpture art, and we are able to conclude the meaning out of it. Such type of sculpture art, my dear friends, that is called as the narrative relief art. What is it called as? Narrative relief arts. Okay, narrative relief arts. So these narrative relief arts were quite useful in depiction of the Jataka stories. Do not forget the basics. Jataka stories were connected to the Mahayana sect of Buddhism, and the entire art and sculpture related to the Buddhism is actually dependent upon the Mahayana sect and its promotion. This is why you will observe that all the rulers, all the great dynasties which adopted Buddhism, these dynasties had obviously adopted the Mahayana sect, because it provided them the opportunity to showcase their dominance, to showcase their influence to the people. Okay? Now, in one such narrative, as I told you in this picture, right? In this picture where the Queen Maya is depicted, sleeping on the bed with her attendants, right, with her attendants sleeping on the side of the bed, and probably in the dream of Queen Maya, there is the presence of this elephant, and the very famous symbol of the elephant coming into the dream is also represented at the Amravati School of Art, and this is the indication of the Buddha arriving into the womb of Devi Mahamaya. So basically, the conception of Lord Buddha into the womb of Devi Mahamaya, that is represented with the help of this relief art. This is the relief art. You do not have anything written here which tells you the story. You simply have this sculpture, and then you try to conclude the story with the help of the literary evidences. All right, everyone. On my next slide, you can see the presence of this deer. Okay, this deer, where you can also see a particular king having the bow and arrow in his hands and trying to hunt down this particular deer, right? And other deers are also chasing, and they are also running away. Here Siddharth is standing, and with the folded hands he is requesting to the king not to hunt the deer. Now this is the exact story. You can see the forest is represented with the help of these tree-like structures. So these are beautiful examples, right? Beautiful examples where the stories were represented through the sculpture art. Okay, everybody. Now let us understand about the evolution of the various features at Sanchi. Why Sanchi? Because Sanchi was a very prominent center of arts during the post-Mauryan period, as it was located very close to Vidisha, and Vidisha, that was a very important city during the Mauryan period as well as during the post-Mauryan period under the rulership of the Shunga dynasty. So here we will observe that several places like Sanchi, like Mathura, like Vengi in Andhra Pradesh, they would be showing very great features in the evolutionary history. Not in the evolutionary history of the human beings, but in the evolutionary history of architecture and arts. For example, the carving techniques, okay, the carving techniques became very much advanced as compared to the Bharahut. In Sanchi, we have the better indications of the carvings. Not only that, if I am telling you, suppose let me just show you this picture, right? Only then you will be able to understand here. Just let me show you this picture, and just a second, okay. Sanchi Toran sculpture, okay. So here you can see the depiction of this particular Toran, right? This particular Toran. You can see very clearly, you can see very clearly, I hope so you can see that. I think it is visible to everyone. You can very clearly understand this, such a great detailing with the proper three-dimensional representation of the sculpture. You can understand because the thickness of the slab is very great. This is why on the side of the frame you can see the decoration with the help of plant and the floral motif. On the other side you can see the various stories. You can see the house here, you can see the railings and the people standing in their respective places. Not only the railings, but even the beads of their hair, that is very clearly demarcated in this sculpture. You can see the entire socket of the eye, right? Socket of the eyes of the elephants. You can see the linings on the hair of the horse, right, and on its head. Similarly, you can see the several stupas, and inside the stupas the projections are clearly visible. So this is what I mean. This is what I mean when I say that the detailings were given special attention in the Sanchi, and these detailings were much more advanced as compared to the Bharahut, right everyone? So here, as I told you that in the Bharahut, right, in Bharahut you can see very basic type of projection, very simple type of projection, but in Sanchi you just saw that such a great level of projection was done. Okay, here you can also find that Buddha, right, Buddha and Manushi Buddhas or the past Buddhas. Remember that this particular term is really important, my dear students. Manushi Buddha, right, Manushi Buddhas means past Buddha. This is important for your examination purpose, important for your exam purpose. Okay, future Buddha, they have asked in the examination about future Buddha, that is the Maitreya, but they can also ask about the past Buddha, that is Manushi Buddha, right everyone? So there are total 24 Buddhas as per the tradition of the Mahayana. However, only the first Buddha, whose name was Dipankar, this is also very important for your examination purpose. Okay, Dipankar was the first Buddha who is depicted here in the Sanchi, Okay, not only that, even the same story of Queen Mahamaya, right, watching the elephant in the dream, seeing the elephant in the dream, that is also represented here. Not only that, if you look at the other places in the similar time when Sanchi was showing the phases of evolution, the places like sculptures, where the places like Amravati in Andhra Pradesh or the places like Mathura in Uttar Pradesh, even they also start showing the depictions having the greater detailings and the greater sculpture narratives, right, narrations, sorry. Sculptural narrations means the stories through the sculpture art. When I am talking about the stories through the sculpture art, guys, remember one point. Mathura was it was a center that stood out, that was completely outstanding center, because here in Mathura the images of this period, they bear the same quality but are different in the depiction of the physiognomic details. Mathura has entirely different physiognomic details. Those who don't understand the meaning of the physiognomic details, let me tell you, by looking at this picture, you can clearly tell me that this gentleman appears to be very much angry, and by looking at this picture, again you can say me that this is also looking to be very angry. So when your picture is able to reflect the emotions, when your physical representation is able to reflect the emotions inside you, then such a type of representation or such a type of arts, that is known as the physiognomic arts. Okay everyone, so understand the meaning of this particular term, it is very important. In Sanchi as well as in Mathura, you find the stories showing the siege of Kushinagar, or showing the Buddha's visit back to Kapilvastu, meeting his wife, or visit of Ashoka to the Ramgram Stoop or to the Rumendei Stoop. All these things are clearly shown. Some other features you can also understand with the help of this stupa. We had already discussed about the stupa architecture in the previous lecture, but let me also tell you that these entire features like the railings or these outer boundaries or these gates which are known as the Toran, or these Pradakshinas called as the Medi, all these features, my dear, all these features, they are added in this post-Mauryan period. they are added in the post-Mauryan period. You can understand by the help of this entire Vedika having the 4 entry gates, 1, 2, 3 and 4. These 4 entry gates, they are known as the Toran. These things were not constructed by Ashoka, rather they were constructed by the traders, merchants and even some of the provincial governors during the Shunga period. We often hear the story that Shunga, they were the orthodox Brahmins, they destroyed 84,000 stupas like that. These are actually over projected stories. The reality is that during the Shunga period, the stupa architecture, it further gained momentum, it further got beautified and it further became more extensive and elaborate. Okay, all these structures over the top of this statue or this stupa, they were also added during the Shunga period. Here as well, you can see this entire picture, and this is a huge representation and such a gracious representation of the elephant with a person sitting on the top of the horse just behind the elephant. Okay, so these type of representations are clearly indicative of the great progress in the sculptural arts during the post-Mauryan period. Now, let us understand about other important sites like Mathura, Sarnath and Gandhar. Guys, if we talk about Mathura School of Arts or Gandhar School of Arts, or later on Mathura School that became evolved as Sarnath School of Arts. So usually the development of these schools or these styles of arts that started somewhere around 1st century CE, 1st century AD of course. Usually we have the locations starting from the Bactria or the Hindu Kush valleys in Afghanistan up to the Punjab region of Pakistan. The Indian Punjab region was, however, the site of fusion of the arts. Here the Gandhar School of Art, that was also available, and the Mathura School of Art, even that was also getting popular in the same area. And not only that, if we talk about the Gandhara sculpture that has clearly the fusion or the confluence of the Bactria, Parthia, local traditions, or we can say that it is influenced by the Hellenistic art, by the Central Asian art, by the Iranian art and by the local art. All the type of features, they came and merged to give the rise to the Gandhar School of Art. Okay everybody, here you can see the local sculptural traditions at Mathura, they were very influential. Gandhar, it had the great influence from the outside, but Mathura was a really great local center. In fact, such a strong local tradition which was even popular, hundreds of kilometers away from Mathura up to Punjab region, on the northwest. In the southeast, it was popular from Mathura up to the Pataliputra region. That is the impact. Okay everyone. For example, you can see this particular picture. Doesn't it look like a exact copy of the Shalbhanjika? I hope everybody will misunderstand it. Whosoever will watch it, they will think that it is the copy of Shalbhanjika. However, this is basically the stupa sculpture found at a Sanghol, Sanghol, that is located in Punjab. And here once again let me tell you, these are the Shalbhanjikas of not Bharahut, but Shalbhanjikas of Sanghol in Punjab. Okay everyone. When we talk about the particular image of Buddha in Mathura School of Art, when we compare the Buddha's images in Gandhar, which look more like the Greek gods, which look more like the Greek gods. If you look at the Gandhar images, the Gandhar images have the features like well sculpted body, okay, well sculpted body, sharp jawline, okay, sharp jawline, then curly hair, okay, then singular representation, then right, monotonous face. Not only that, you will also observe that at Gandhar they had the right well covering drapery. What is drapery, by the way? Drapery is that piece of cloth, the sheet of cloth which is covering the body. Got it? Apart from that, you will also have the presence of arna in the center of the forehead. You will also have the the lock at the top of the head. All these features, they are present in Gandhar. Sharp nose, sharp jawline, flaky eyes, all these are the features in the Gandhar school. Whereas in Mathura, if you observe it, Mathura is basically not exclusive site of Buddhism. Buddhism is one of the various representations found at Mathura. Mathura has the presence of Vaishnavite, Shaivite, Jain and Buddhist traditions, all of the traditions. In Mathura we have the representation of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu through their ayudhas. Ayudh means through their weapons. Not only that, sometimes through their symbols. That is very important. You can understand by the example of this picture. I told you that in Gandhar, Buddha is represented singularly, single image of Lord Buddha, nobody else. But in Mathura, guys, remember that this particular statue is or sculpture is obtained from Mathura, okay, from Mathura. And you can understand by looking at this that the drapery which is shown here, the drapery is extremely thin drapery. Entire body is visible. You can see that he is sitting in Padmasan on a throne, on a seat. The seat is having inscriptions. Something is written here. Okay, something is written here also. And his seat is basically held by the lions which are looking in the different directions. Again, he is represented in the Abhay Mudra, but alongside Buddha you can also observe the other attendants who are there for doing some sort of whiskering. Apart from that, you can also see the presence of the arna, the long earlobes, then great design in the eyebrows, and then the completely flat and smooth presence of the hair lock. Along with that, you can see the stylish halo present here, which is decorated by the branches of the trees. Not only that, you can also observe the flying angels over the top of the halo of the tree. Guys, if suppose someone in the statement, the examination is there, in the statement there is a question which says that the Mathura had all the features only inspired by Indian traditions, then this statement will become wrong. Even Mathura was also having some influences from certain peculiar cultures. Might be not from the Greeks, but definitely Mathura had the connections with the several Central Asian advents, particularly the Shakas, because you do not find the mention of these type of flying deities, flying angels or deities in the anything which is Indian, right? Only in the Puranic tradition you find such type of descriptions. So here even the Buddhism at Mathura was inspired by the Puranic traditions or the Jataka tales which represent such type of possibilities. All right, everyone. Now, you can also observe, right, you can also observe the representation of the Jain Stupa. Now, this is, my dear, this is the Jain Stupa at Mathura. Jain Stupa at Mathura at a place called as Kankali Tila. Place called as Kankali Tila. Okay, Kankali Tila. All right, everyone. So this is why Mathura is considered to be the place of all the major faith of the Indic tradition. On this side you can see the Gandhar statue. Here also you can see the Gandhar statue. In both the statues you can see the great jawline, great shape of the face, curly hair, presence of halo, plain, no decoration. Sheet is absolutely well shown. It is completely wrapping up the body of Buddha. Here Buddha is shown singularly. However, at the slab which is there underneath Buddha, you can see the lions representing him. Okay, and you can also see Buddha is meditating here with the devotees who are standing on the sides of Buddha. Okay, everyone. Achha, red is not visible. Don't worry, I am not writing anything on this. I am not writing anything on this. Okay, don't worry. So when I am talking about these sculptures, I hope that you got the clear understanding of the differences between the Mathura and the Gandhar. Okay. Suppose if there is a question which says that Buddha is wearing a crown, Buddha is wearing an ornament, okay, or Buddha is wearing a girdle, that will be wrong. Why? Because Buddha did not wear any type of ornaments. It is the Bodhisattva who is wearing the ornaments. Who is wearing the ornaments? There is a difference between Buddha and Bodhisattva. Bodhisattvas are basically, they are about to become Buddha. They have accumulated sufficient virtues, but they are giving the blessings to the devotees for their emancipation, and they don't worry for their own self. This is why they are called as the compassionate deities of the humankind. Got it, everyone? And those people who obtain or who attain the 10 perfections called paramitas, those people become the bodhisattvas. Okay, remember that. All these are the topics which give you the questions in the real examination of your civil services. Now, when we talk about the other sculptures in Mathura, as I told you that in Mathura, Vishnu, Shiv, both of them are represented with the help of their ayudhas. However, if you look at the pictures, the faces and the bodies of the statues, of the sculptures in Mathura, they are relatively fleshy. Fleshy means they are slightly round, slightly bulky. They appear to be little bit, healthier as compared to the lean and muscular body of Gandhar. Got it, everyone? This is clearly the evidence that in Mathura, the styling of the sculptures was inspired by the styling of Yaksha statues. Yaksha, Yakshinis, they were represented in the earlier period. Similar representation continued for the Buddhist and Shaivite and Vaishnavite traditions. Okay, everyone? You can understand by these pictures. Look at this. This is the picture of Chaturvyuh picture, which is representing the Krishna and Balbhadra, or Krishna and Balram. Okay, Krishna and Balram. This picture was basically represented, or it was actually formulated during the, right, it was constructed during the Kushana period. Here also you can see the rounded face and relatively bulkier body, thicker hands, like that. Similarly, observe this picture. In this picture you can see that it is probably, right, looking like a snake or something, or maybe a garland or something, right, either a snake or a garland. This is probably some offering, maybe a flower or something. And in this particular picture they are going to worship the Shivling, okay. So this is indicative of the Kushana rulers worshipping the Lord Shiva, right everyone, and this is depicted at Mathura. You can understand that the thickness of this entire stone slab is not very great. This is why, right, this is why you can understand it very clearly, that stiffness, the plane of the hand and plane of the body, both are in the same line, unlike this picture where the statue is constructed independently, therefore the movement of the hand out of the body, that is possible. All right everyone. However, later on what will happen? Later on you will observe that the statues will become further refined, further soft, and the volume of drapery that will be reduced, and after the reduction in the volume of drapery, you will observe the pictures of Sarnath Buddha, or the Jain Tirthankar Parshvanath. Look at this, Jain Tirthankar Parshvanath, on whose head you are able to see the Nagas, okay, see the Nagas. These are the serpents which are covering the head of Parshvanath, and Parshvanath is shown as being completely bald. Got it everyone? However, this sculpture is completely eroded, that's why it is not very much aesthetic in the looks, but when this would have been constructed, then the aesthetics of this sculpture would have been outstanding. Got it everyone? So I hope that this is absolutely clear to all of you. Now in the second part of this lecture, we will cover about the early temple architecture. That is, the beginning of temple architecture will be covered tomorrow. So guys, do not forget to join me live at 4 p.m. tomorrow on the same channel, same platform. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, hit the bell icon so that you can get the notification after the subscription of the channel. Apart from that, if you want to join our P2I batches which are provided in English and Hindi, then you can also enroll in any of the preferred batches and use the code ASR live for getting the maximum discount on the fees of this program. This program will be covering entire syllabus, as well as the extra things like handwritten notes, like dedicated books for UPSC, one-to-one mentorship, etc. All these will be provided to you. So go to the website and get a check of that. Let's meet tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thank you so much guys for watching it. Take care, bye-bye, and Jai Hind.